Hey everybody, it's Glenn, back in this video with more customizing live, and I'm embarking upon a new custom project, and it's a WWE one, or more appropriately a WWF one, as I'm going to be customizing Eric Rowan here into Nailz. Nailz debuted in the WWF in 1992. He was an ex-convict who claimed that during his incarceration the Big Boss Man had mistreated him. At that time the Big Boss Man had undergone a babyface turn, so we were supposed to be like, oh my gosh, Nailz, how could he ever accuse the Big Boss Man of such a thing? Even though a couple of years earlier the Big Boss Man had maced Hulk Hogan in the face, handcuffed Miss Elizabeth to the ring rope, and threatened to beat her with a nightstick. But hey, that's wrestling. So it should be a pretty easy custom job for the most part, with Rowan wearing a jumpsuit and Nailz of course wearing a DOC, Department of Correction, orange jumpsuit, so that should be largely a paint job. What is more difficult will be the head, and for this I'm going to swap out Rowan's head with this King Kong Bundy one. I used the Mattel Legends King Kong Bundy figure for both my Mantor and, believe it or not, Bertha Faye customs a while back, so it'll be good to use up the head, and really I just want the angry screaming expression. I will be making some modifications to this head though. Putting it politely, King Kong Bundy was a much heavier guy than Nailz was, so the modifications that I'm going to make, I'm going to grind away the rolls of fat at the back of the neck, and then I'm also going to grind away the double chin here, so make it a slimmer looking head. And I'll be doing that grinding with my Dremel. Now I'm going to just tidy all that up with some sandpaper, as the Dremel leaves quite a rough finish. So that's the head modified and sanded. I've slimmed it down a fair bit. I will need to sculpt the hair, but first I'm going to put this head on the Eric Rowan action figure, and to allow that I'll need to heat this and the Eric Rowan figure to soften the plastic enough to allow the swap. I'm going to do that by sitting them on my heater. The heater with no name. I've yet to give it a name. A whole bunch of you came up with names for my heater in my previous customizing live video. So many of you, in fact, it was a flood, and I've yet to go through them all and decide which is the best name for it. So the heater's on a low setting. I'll leave those for about 5 minutes. So that should have softened the plastic enough now that, yep, I can pry that head off pretty easily. And then I'm gonna put the King Kong Bundy head on, and now I'm gonna sculpt the hair. For this I'm using Milliput. It's a 2-part epoxy putty, which means it comes in 2 parts that you need to mix together. They may stock this or a similar product at your local art and crafts store. If not, you can track it down by using Google and your own initiative. So I've mixed my clay, and I'm looking at pictures of Nailz on my laptop for reference. It seems he has a centre parting and then the hair slicked down to the sides. Should be fairly easy to sculpt, and then I'm going to use a toothpick to work the texture into the epoxy clay. And it seems from looking at pictures that his hair's receded quite a lot, so I'm going to start the hairline quite far up the head. that's the sculpt all done. I think Nailz is really going to come together when I apply the orange paint to the jumpsuit. Alas, I have placed an order for orange paint, but it hasn't arrived, so you guys are going to have to stay tuned for next week for me to complete Nailz. Anyway, please help me out by giving this video a big thumbs up. Also remember to comment, share and subscribe. Check out the description beneath this video for links to my Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Click those links and connect with me there too. Hope to see you in my next video. Bye.